Hello, I'm Jeff Gold, and welcome to another segment of Under the Microscope. I had the pleasure today of being joined by Dr. Chris Kratochvil, and as many of you know, Dr. Kratochvil serves as our Associate Vice Chancellor for Clinical Research, Vice President for Research of Nebraska Medicine, and the Chief Medical Officer of UNeHealth. Chris, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's a pleasure to be here.
What I wanted to talk about a little bit was the NETEC project, the National Ebola Training and Education Center. Maybe you tell our audience a little bit about what that is and what's happened since that occurred last summer.
Sure. Well, it's been a very action-packed 6 months. The team's been incredibly busy. This has been a time that we've launched our website, netec.org, with the support of UNMC IT. We've initiated site visits. We've created educational materials, and we've had on-site training for academic health centers and hospitals throughout the country.
So as I recall, as we became activated, as the biocontainment unit became activated, as the Ebola crisis became more and more threatening, and as our first patients were being transported, the need for education and training and certification of sites across the country became a national endeavor, became a focus of HHS and the CDC. And that's when we first really got involved. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. We had a decade of preparedness, and so the CDC and ASPR, the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness Response, came to us and really said that they wanted to partner with us to create resources along with our other partners, Emory and Columbia Hospital in New York, to help support training, education, and to go out and do site visits and to help provide consultation throughout the country.
So as I understand it, there are, 8 or 10 regional centers that have been designated, and then a number of treatment centers, and then even a larger number than that of what they call assessment centers. Is that right?
Exactly. And the idea is, how can we develop an infrastructure for the country that can help us to be prepared for Ebola, which is where the funding came from, but moving beyond that in the future as well.
So as we've trained sites, teams from across the country, and I've had the pleasure of meeting several of them over the last year or so with you, what's their take on the fact that we've been dedicated to this for 10 years? Did they look at us like, you know, how could you guys have either been so thoughtful or so dumb in having 10 years of planning for this?
Yeah, I think folks have been very impressed, because it was one thing after 9/11 to have the initiative to be prepared for bioterrorism. And, you know, Phil Smith and the team really did an incredible amount of work designing the unit, but to maintain that preparedness and to continue to improve and develop policies and put things out there on the internet and make them available nationwide even before Ebola came out. People are really shocked that that foresight was there.
Well, I can tell you, just as recently as a couple of weeks ago, I was in Washington and meeting with the Assistant Secretary for Preparedness and Response, Dr. Lurie, and she was telling me how well the programs are going and how much people respect the quality of the educational materials that are being produced. So not only do I think you guys are doing a great job, but obviously our colleagues who are paying for this think that we're doing a great job as well.
Yeah, and I think it's been a great collaboration with the hospitals across the country as we've gone out to Hopkins and other facilities and seen the work that they've done, provide input, and really learn from their facilities as well. It's really a great partnership nationwide.
Well, I thank you so much for everything that you're doing. Please extend my thanks to the rest of the leadership team. And thank you for being with us on this segment of Under the Microscope.